All right, welcome to the Serve podcast, brought to you by Serve Clothing, the only dress shirts made for missionaries, by missionaries, co-founders of Serve Clothing here today, Dax and Statler, and yeah, tell us what we're doing here today.
Yeah, so we wanted to start this podcast. Obviously, reason number one is because we want to bring brand awareness to our company, Serve Clothing. But also we feel like, missions are such a special time in people's lives, and it's really it's not only a spiritual experience, but just a great experience, like almost an adventure in general. And I think it's fun to kind of go back and sit back and reminisce on those good times and those spiritual times, but also be thankful for what you have.
I mean, like you said, that's totally the case, and we want to provide a space for people to come to. That's a great place to kind of, like you said, reminisce on the mission. And for those who are preparing to go on a mission as well, we'll have some funny stories and some things, and some more serious and spiritual things as well that we'll talk about today. And in the future, we'll have some guest speakers on here as well, but we get Dax and myself here today. So, where did you serve on your mission?
Yep. So I served in the Mississippi Jackson mission. We covered majority of Mississippi, top northern part of Louisiana, a little slip of Arkansas, and a little piece of Texas as well.
Okay. And I was in the Ghana Kumasi. I was actually called the Ghana Cape Coast, and then it split into the Kumasi mission. And when I was first called there was 2 missions in the country, and when I left there was 4, and I think there's like 5 or 6 now. So West Africa it's pretty crazy. But I mean, what was Mississippi like?
Well, Mississippi was awesome. My mission had the kind of the opposite. Obviously, the church is growing there, but my mission doesn't exist anymore. So Mississippi doesn't have a mission anymore, unlike Ghana. But no, absolutely loved my mission, loved the experience. Preparing for your mission, I think, is always it's a roller coaster. Obviously, you want to go serve, and you're excited, but you're also scared to death. And that's kind of the experiences that I was having leading up. Growing up, I don't think I necessarily wanted to go on a mission, but I knew that I was going on a mission.
Yeah.
I don't know, for whatever reason. But I remember, getting called Mississippi Jackson Mission, going to the MTC, and then my first thought that first night was, all right, 2 years is a long time. Like, how am I going to get out of this? I specifically remember, like, well, if I like, hurt my shoulder or break my arm or something like that, or whatever, I could probably get out of this, and I could still get honorably released. But so those first 2 nights were rough, but eventually kind of buckle down, kind of get settled in, and kind of focus on what you're really doing and why you're really there. And from then on out, man, it was a wild ride, but the greatest ride of my life. So
there you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, my mission was pretty crazy. I obviously, more of a third world country there, and I don't think I'd ever been out of the country until, I arrived in Ghana. Straight off the plane, right to the MTC in Ghana was kind of what I did. But it was awesome. Like, the people were so great, so humble. They didn't hardly have anything, but they didn't need, material things or fame or anything like that to be happy. They just, a lot of them were Christians and stuff, so they, needed the Lord and the gospel and family and that type of thing to be happy. So that was cool for me. I needed to learn that lesson. I was kind of a spoiled kid.
Yeah. Weren't we all, right?
Yeah.
So I Mississippi, Louisiana, obviously in the Bible Belt, I dealt with a lot of, obviously, Christians and Protestant people and stuff like that. Was that similar to what you faced? Was majority Christian, or was Muslim in there too, or?
Yeah, I mean, most of my mission experience for the 2 years was mostly like Christians, like everybody knew Jesus and kind of, the Holy Ghost and all that and the Bible. But the last area of my mission was a little bit more Muslim. It's actually a brand new area that we were able to open. We might talk about that a little bit later more. But even those people, they still had some sort of foundation of Christianity just because it's all over there.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, same for me. So what was your first experience of Ghana? You step off the plane. Were you in the MTC in Provo, or did you go to the MTC in Ghana, or what was that like?
Yeah, man, it was nuts. Like, it was honestly pretty rough when I first arrived. I was so anxious, like so nervous. I hadn't really traveled much before, and I ended up having to travel by myself.
And how long's that flight?
Oh, geez, it was like 13 hours. So it was rough, man. I remember stepping off the plane and just feeling like the heat and humidity and smells, because you didn't get off in a terminal. It was straight on the tarmac. Oh. And I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I threw up. I stepped off the plane and everything hit me all at once. I was already super nervous and anxious, and I just threw up. It was bad. Next thing you know, you're walking with your bags, and people are trying to come up and take your bags to help you, and then they're asking for money, and I was just totally out of my element. It was nuts. You get in the car, and then there's people trying to sell stuff to you on the road, and just looking out the window, kind of like you, like, what am I doing here? Like,
and you're 100% by yourself. No other missionaries.
I met other missionaries at the airport.
Okay, so you're okay.
So we were all kind of in the van back to the MTC together. But
gosh,
then we pull up to the MTC, and I threw up again.
Naturally.
My companion, come to find out later, my companion was actually watching me through the window, and he's like, I hope that's not my companion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was rough. I mean, any like cultural shocks or like differences for you when you got to Mississippi?
The right answer is yes, but I also kind of had an idea of what it was going to be like. I remember we get off the plane, we go to the mission home, and then I get assigned to South Jackson, Mississippi, which at the time, I don't know what it is now, and every report's different, but at the time it was like the third most dangerous city in America. But who knows if that's true or not. But as a missionary, that's all I needed to hear.
Don't tell your mom.
Yeah, no. So so they signed me to South Jackson, Mississippi, and we were living in Section 8 housing, right? So I'm the only white dude. My companion's black too, so I'm literally like, what am I doing here? And then as we're moving in, like the neighbors they're all watching us from the porch, like seeing us, like, because we opened the area. So we had like the couches and everything and loading it up to our apartment complex. And I'm like, dude, we're going to get robbed for sure, even though we have nothing of value. And so I remember that night I put the front door of our apartment, and then there was like a wall like 4 feet apart, or 4 feet from the door. And I put the freaking ironing board. I put the ironing board underneath the door handle so no one could get in the apartment. Because like, dude, I don't know what I would do if I got someone broke in and we got robbed. But no, just like the MTC though, like you just kind of get settled in and you start to embrace the culture, embrace what's going on around you, and you just fall in love with it. So like at the time I was scared to death of, just everything. Like I was afraid to knock doors. I didn't like confrontation. Still don't, that, but still didn't like bugging people. But like you grow into it, you grow to love the people, and then it's just a ride, dude. It's an adventure. Like you'll have the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, but like looking back, like I wouldn't trade it for the world. So
yeah.
But and now, I mean, South Jackson wasn't my favorite area, but it was my second favorite area. Like I love it, and I go back kind of frequently just because my family married a kid. My wife's cousin married a kid from down there, so I go back there probably more than what's normal, but absolutely loved it.
It's funny to hear about like your paranoia and those things, because I mean, for those who don't know, we've known each other for a long time. We went to high school together. We
roommates in
college
college.
together. We're actually roommates, and now we do serve together. So it's funny to hear about some of the experiences because you're still paranoid.
Yeah. I guess I didn't outgrow everything, but so yeah, South Jackson was my second favorite area. We can go into my favorite after this, but what was your favorite area that you served in?
So I served in 4 total areas on my mission, and it was pretty even. It was about 6 months in each area. I didn't ever have to move in. You moved in on the first day of your mission. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like furniture and everything into the apartment.
Oh yeah, everything.
Brand new area.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But my favorite area, I mean, was probably my last area that I was in. I don't know, and this is more of on like a spiritual note as well, but for a few reasons I didn't go on my mission until a little bit later, and I was always kind of like frustrated and confused, like, oh, why does that have to happen and whatever. But when I got to my last area, it was my last 6 months of my mission, which is like essentially the same amount of time that I waited, right, to go on my mission.
Yeah.
And so it just came full circle at that time being in this area, because it was a brand new area that we opened up as well, and we saw like so many miracles, just so much growth in the short time I was there. And it kind of came full circle, like I said, to kind of be like, oh, well, that's why.
Totally.
That's why the Lord needed me there for that time. And yeah, it was kind of cool to see that.
Oh, for sure. And for you guys don't know this, but me and Statler, our birthdays are like, what, 3 days apart or something like that?
June 26th.
June 21st, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then I was late to go out too. So we left the same time and got home the same time.
When did you leave?
December 14th, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it was
December
like January 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we were roommates coincidentally at Snow College. So that is kind of crazy. And now we're here starting a company together. So
yeah.
Anyway.
It is wild. Well, since we kind of opened up the can of like spiritual, I mean, what's an spiritual experience that you hold like close to your heart from your mission? So, in my last area, like I said, we were able to open it up. And that was the area that I was also referring to earlier. That was a lot of like Muslims as well as Christians. I think there was 8 of us that basically the assistants drove us up there in the van and just dropped us off. We were all in one apartment. And they just said, okay, you guys, go in this general area. Each companionship kind of break up the city into a grid. And that Sunday, our president of our mission was coming to our sacrament service. And there was some members in the area. We didn't have any, contact information for them or anything for some of them.
Yeah.
And this was on like, transfers usually happen on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. And so we're scrambling, trying to figure out how to get people to church, in 3 days time, and find these members and have a service for our president who would be there that Sunday. So we just went right out, started. You don't really knock on doors in Ghana. Mostly everybody's out of their house, and you just kind of walk on the street and talk to people that way.
Yeah.
There's some gates with like compounds and stuff. You can knock on the gate, but that first week was crazy. The first week, it's 3 days. We found my companionship, right? We found 11 people that came to church that Sunday, and all of them ended up getting baptized.
Wow.
Which is insane. Like even for Ghana, you baptize quite a few people over there, but even for over there, that's crazy.
Jeez.
And it was just crazy. I had a brand new companion out of the MTC, and just we felt so guided and directed that week.
Yeah.
And we knew that the Lord was just directing us to the people that He needed to be able to build His church there.
Totally.
And so that was, I don't know, that was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my mission, and kind of a spiritual experience, I would say.
No, that's awesome. So the one that comes to mind that hits home, I guess, right now for me, I oddly dealt with a lot of death on my mission. Like a lot of people died. Like I was a pallbearer like 4 times.
Oh, geez.
And just like stuff like that, and it made no sense. But one area in particular, we were in Greenville, which was my favorite area, and I absolutely loved it. And just coincidentally, we were knocking doors, which I hated knocking doors. I always found like something else to do besides knock doors. And we knocked doors on this random house on Peach Street in Greenville, Mississippi, and she lets us in, and like she was very friendly, and like it was weird. Like she was familiar with missionaries, and she didn't tell us why or what or whatever. And she, like, can we share a message? And we shared like a quick message, and like, when's a better time to come back? We came back next week, and we came back it was nighttime. It was dark outside, which we weren't supposed to be out at dark in a couple of my areas, Greenville being one of them. And we walk in, and she's crying, she's bawling, and she was really upset because she had a special needs son, and his friend or buddy or whatever, like in like their special needs school, passed away or whatever. And we're like trying to console her, like, and we gave her, my companion actually handled it very, very well. Just talking about like how people with special needs or whatever, they're taken care of, right? And as we're talking, we look over, and the movie God's Army. You remember that movie back in the day? It was like in 1990s. It's a church, not church sponsored, but it's a show about missionaries. It's called God's Army.
Yeah.
It was playing on freaking VHS, dude.
Wow.
We're like, what is going on? But anyway, she wasn't a member, but she was very nice or whatever. And then in walks her mom, and turns out the mom and her brother were long lost members, and they started coming to church again and stuff like that. But I mean, it was very inspired, very crazy that it all happened. But just like the whole like ambiance of all of it, right? Like it's dark outside. I think it was actually like a downpour too. It was raining, like almost in like a movie. Jeez. And then like you turn over and there's God's Army playing, like what is going on here? But
like an out of body experience almost.
Almost. It was like, dude, this should be in a movie. But anyway, it was very spiritual for the moment. And like she didn't join the church at the time or whatever. And maybe she is now. I wouldn't know. But her mom started going again, and her brother. But yeah, that specific night I'll probably always remember. So anyway, yeah.
Well, what do you feel like made you like, I don't know, like the best missionary possible, or what do you wish maybe that you would have done differently to be a better missionary? Ooh. Or and one of those two things? What do you think?
Oh, this is you're gonna agree with this just because you know me. But the thing that I struggled with, and I already mentioned this, I don't like bugging people. I don't like being an inconvenience.
Yeah.
And I don't love confrontation just because I don't like being inconvenienced or bugged. So I guess my thing that I struggled with was obviously knocking. Like I'd prospect on the street all day. Like I could talk to them because you're not on their turf, right?
Yeah.
Like this is, but knocking doors, I hated, I absolutely hated. And I wasn't as bold as probably I should have been in a few situations, or most situations, which maybe that was a good thing because I know, sometimes if you're too bold, it puts a bad taste in people's mouth. But that is something that I struggled with for sure. And then, yeah, that's probably it.
Okay.
I don't know. What about you?
So you wish you were a little bit more bold and stuff?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But I also, I will say that though, a lot of times I felt like I was in damage control. Like people already got they already had a bad experience and like, oh dude, I promise I'm cool. Like we're nice or whatever. And so.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
No,
you have a way to like relate to people and then be that human like side. So I can see that for sure.
Yeah. Not a great salesman though. So anyway, what about you?
I would say like for me, like there's a lot of missionaries that were like super strict and like we got to be like exactly obedient and stuff to be able to be blessed and all that. Like, we all do our best to keep the rules and commandments and everything, but I was never like, okay, we got to do this and this is, gonna happen. The gates of heaven are going to open up, anything like that.
I was gonna go there too. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
But I would say like for me, just like trying to work super, super hard. Like you feel inadequate and stuff, but the one thing I could control was my work ethic and how hard I worked, and tried to be out as a missionary. For those who don't know, you're out. Well, you wake up, you exercise, you got study time, shower, like, and breakfast, and then you're out from like 10 a.m. to, sometimes 10 p.m.
Yeah, seriously.
8, 9 p.m. on a regular basis. And so I just tried to make the most out of my time away from the apartment, and, try to hit our goals, fill all of our appointments and things. And one thing that I always pictured in my mind, like my entire mission in the back of my mind, is I want to get, every missionary has like the vision of coming home, coming down the escalator or whatever on the airport. There's your mom, there's your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, just that magical moment. And so I always had in the back of my mind, like, I want to come down the escalator. At that point, you came down the escalator at Salt Lake City Airport. I want to come down the escalator, give my mom the biggest hug, and just know that, like, I worked my butt off for 2 years. I didn't leave anything,
Oh, 1,000%.
no regrets.
Totally. That just reminded me, I don't know, kind of a special experience that I had when the night that we got released, or that you get released. So I would go to the state president's office or whatever, and they release you. And I remember, and this is, I guess, deep, and I don't want to get too spiritual, but I am. I remember they released me, and as they're putting their hands on my head to, like, set me apart or unset me apart or whatever, give me a blessing, I look at a picture of the Savior, and I'm just thinking, like, was that good enough? And that hit me, dude. I started bawling, and because you realize when it's all said and done, you're like, dude, there was a lot of times, and I don't care who you are, I don't care how obedient or how hard you work. Like, there are so many times where you're gonna look back like, oh, I probably could have done this better. I could have been more proactive. And so that is one thing. Like, if I could go back, I wouldn't change anything probably, but I would probably just always keep in mind like what I'm actually doing out there, because there was plenty of times where I got a little laxed and stuff like that. But no, that was a really powerful night. Oh gosh, I thought that I wanted to go with that. I can't remember.
Hey, we got
So one thing I was going to say, one thing that's pretty cool that got me thinking kind of about both of our favorite areas. What's really cool is obviously you become part of the community. Like, depending on where you serve, I'm sure like Salt Lake's probably a little different, or a few areas like that. But like, when you're out and about, like on the streets enough, and like knocking on people's doors and like talking to people, like you generally become like part of the community. And so like one of like the most rewarding things in a weird way, like aside from like baptisms and stuff like that, and like friendships, is like you're walking down the street, riding a bike, or you're hanging out in an apartment complex, and like people are like, oh, that's Elder Isinger, or like they used to call me Elder Ice, or like Elder E. I was like, that's like the coolest thing in the world. Like, you guys aren't members of the church, you have no interest, but like we played basketball together, and like, like we're friends now. So I think that's one of like the more underrated experiences that you have, is like you're part of the community, you're respected for the most part, and like it's just you never get that experience ever again in your life, like no matter what you do. So I don't know.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. In Ghana, it's like almost like a badge of honor you try to leave behind, because like there's not a lot of white people. Well, there's no white people there. And so it's funny when you're walking down the streets in certain areas, like they'll just yell out, oh, Elder, so-and-so, Elder Anderson,
Yeah.
And it's like, well, actually I'm Elder Slade. But, it's like, okay, well, that missionary made an impact here.
Because they think you all look the same?
Well, yeah. Yeah, they think you all look the same, but also, like, it's like, oh, well, they made an impact here.
No, totally. That was actually cool. So after we moved into my apartment, like my third day on my mission, we go to Walmart to get us some stuff or whatever. And one thing that happened was we were walking down the aisle, and like, the awkward time, like you're walking, and then like someone's leaving the aisle, and you like don't want to like run into each other or whatever. And I'm like, oh, go ahead. And the lady starts going ahead, and then her boyfriend or brother or whatever like stops her, like, no, like let the elders go. And this guy, it was so cool because it was like, dude, he literally looked like Lil Wayne, except for probably like 6 inches taller. Like total like, I won't go there, but like total like hardcore dude.
Yeah.
And here he is like showing respect to like some random, you know, missionary for no good reason other than he's probably had a good experience and he respects what we're doing. So that was pretty cool. Like little things like that, man. It's pretty powerful. So
that's way cool. Did you have any, and you may have said some already, but like funny experiences? Crazy experiences, like the ones that you like waited to tell your mom until you got home, that type of thing.
Jeez, how about I don't want to expose myself too much.
No.
I'm going to say this right now.
No illegal activities.
No, it wasn't illegal. Okay. I'm going to say this right now, and I've told you this before. People that either went to high school with us or served a mission with me are going to be like, why is this guy like having a missionary podcast or like involved in like missionary work at all? Because like I loved the work, I loved what I did, but like I was a little wild, okay? So but one thing one of the funnier things that happened was, it wasn't funny at all at the time, but there was a member, a very less active member, and he kind of dove into like witchcraft, and that's pretty common in Louisiana, right? We were in Shreveport.
Wait, one of the elders did?
No, he was a member. He was a member. A very less active member.
Okay.
And so we were going over there quite a bit. He kept inviting us back, and dude, it was creepy. It was a creepy house. And this day in particular, he showed us his Ouija board, right? And we were like, dude, you should like get rid of that. Like, and so we convinced him. We're like, hey, dude, just get rid of it. So we threw it away. Yeah. With his permission. We weren't stealing it. We threw it away.
You got to burn that thing.
Yes. So so we threw it away, but we threw it away in his trash bin outside of his apartment for him. Like, if he wanted to, he could go grab it. Yeah. But like, so after he saw us throw it away, like we drove off. He goes inside and we turn around and grab it, and like we throw it into like a dumpster. Like he would probably never find it, right? So,
and you made sure it was thrown away.
Yeah, we made sure that thing was gone. We didn't start a fire, but so like from the rest of that time, we just had like a weird feeling. And I'm not saying that it was, it was the adversary or it wasn't, but like it was just a very eerie feeling. And like after that, we biked all the way across on the other side of Shreveport. So we got home. It was dark outside, and we got home on our bikes, and I opened the door, and we're like, what is going on? Like, it just felt off, right? We go into our living room, and I put my key and my backpack on the table. I turn to my right, and there's a black figure standing in the freaking corner, dude.
Okay.
I freak out. And so my initial instinct is like, put the hand to the square, and I'm like, and my initial instinct is put the hand to the square.
Yeah.
Because I'd already rehearsed this in my mind, dude. Like, if this ever happens, like I'm throwing the hand to the square, but I'm so scared. I'm literally like, okay, in the F. Like I'm saying, like I'm swearing, dude. I am swearing so much, and then like the figure, I'm like thinking like, this isn't like a spirit. This is a human. So I'm walking, and I'm ready to freaking go, dude.
Oh my gosh!
And I can't remember what he said. He was like, stop! And I was like, who are you? Who the heck are you?
Identify yourself.
Yeah, who are you? And in the meantime, my companion yells, he didn't say the F word. He said, get the F out. And I still joke with him to this day, because he took off, dude.
Yeah.
So he's nowhere to be found. And as I'm approaching, I grab him.
Wait, your companion left
you? My companion's gone. He's out of the apartment. I grab the guy, and I'm like, he's like, ice, it's me. It was my freaking zone leader, dude.
Oh my gosh.
They had a black spandex bodysuit. And so normally this would be a great prank, right? But like, it was the fact that we just had that experience.
With the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I calmed down. I was like, oh, dude, like, good one. Like, you got me. And then we're like, wait, then the other zone leader walks in because he was in the other room and he scared my companion. So the other zone leader comes in, and we were like, oh yeah, like good one, whatever. Like, and so we're like, wait, where's my companion? So we're like, dude, where's Elder's tutor? So we leave the apartment looking for him. He's he's a block down the road. He flagged someone's, because this was back when only one phone per companion, right? Yeah. So he flagged down a freaking minivan and grabbed their phone and called the police. Oh. And so we pulled up and he's on the phone with the police as we were like, dude, wait, it's Suter. And so, I guess what happened was initially when he flagged him down, they were like, no, like we're not giving you. He's like, I know you have a phone. Give me your phone. Like he was like forceful to him. Like it was like an emergency. And so anyway, we all go back to our apartment and we're just sitting there like, dude, what in the, like, that was hilarious, but like, that was horrible. About half hour later, the police show up to our apartment. They showed up and anyway, it was just it was like a perfect storm, and like we still joke about it to this day, and it was wild. But anyway, that's probably the funniest story I can think of off the top of my head. But
I'm not gonna be able to top that one. I was hoping it would come around to funny because I'm like, oh, this is pretty deep. Like it's pretty dark.
Yeah, I'm talking about Ouija boards and stuff.
Oh gosh. Shoot, man! Wow, that's crazy. No, I could tell mine, but yours is way better.
Do you want to try? I don't know.
No, so back in this same area where there was 8 of us in the apartment, in Ghana, like there's not really like garbage day or garbage trucks. You just either haul your garbage off to the dump place or you burn it.
Yeah.
And so we were burning our garbage on this particular day. And there was a brand new elder that got, the opportunity of lighting the garbage on fire.
Naturally.
So we just kind of let him do his thing. We're like, hey, we need to burn the garbage, and you got to pour some gas on it, and then you get up there and you light it, and it burns. And so this poor elder, like he dumped a lot of gas on the fire, and we weren't really watching. We were just letting him do his thing, and he got up real close with the match.
Oh no!
Like, this close, lit it, and then touched it to the garbage.
Oh no!
The thing just blew up right in his face.
Did he lose his eyebrows and everything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it blew up in his face. He comes running around the house. Oh, I'm on fire! And we're all like, dude, what happened?
Was he actually on fire, or was
he wasn't on fire?
He pulled a Ricky Bobby.
He comes running around the corner. His eyelashes, eyebrows, everything are just gone or like singed. And we're like, dude, okay, like, don't send your mom a picture for at least like 2 months.
That's hilarious. Like, where was he from? The States?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Idaho, and he was brand new on the mission too. So like, you don't want to freak your mom out. And this was right at the age change, so he was 18 and everything. Okay. Don't freak your mom out. Don't send a picture of yourself home for at least like 2 months.
But
funny story.
With the mission, like lighting the trash on fire, was that like one of like the small perks of like, because as a missionary, there's like little things where it's like, you just look forward to them because it's a little wild.
Yeah.
Like lighting the trash was probably like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was one of them. We burned some stuff, like old shirts and whatever. That was always fun.
The old year mark or whatever. And
yep.
Yeah, tie year, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
totally.
Funny.
Well, I was going to ask, like, you were probably just like me with the shirts that you had, just the cotton, like, nasty, muggy shirts, like, why would our shirts be great in Mississippi or any mission down in the South or in that area?
Okay. Yeah, so for me, you probably did the same. They still do it. Mr. Mac had like the missionary bundle or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I can't even remember the shirts that I had, like the company or whatever, but I actually enjoyed the shirts. They would never fly today just because they were built to last. Not in a good way, right? So they weren't necessarily comfortable, but they were tough. And so by the end of my mission, what was interesting, because I wore a backpack, my my seams were coming apart on all of my shirts, so that they would tear on that, and so that was a problem. But also my shirts were so freaking orange that my mission president called my mom and was like, "Hey, can I buy your son shirts?"
Oh, jeez.
So, and my mom was embarrassed, like no, it was like,
Yeah, she would
I
be,
promise
yeah.
we're not hurting like that. Like we can send him shirts, but same with shoes. He did the same thing with shoes, but bad shoes was kind of like a badge of honor,
Exactly.
right? Like,
yeah.
so anyway, my shirts ended up being so bad towards the end of my mission, and especially in Mississippi, same thing with Ghana. Like it's so humid, so hot, and they just your shirts get destroyed.
The neck stains.
The neck stains,
Oh,
yeah. But anyway, we implemented that. Obviously, that's why we wanted to start this company, is because like obviously there's a market for it. Like missionaries need shirts. They need shirts that are going to last and they're going to be comfortable. But also, it's something that we're passionate about, right? So. That's kind of where the idea came from, and nowadays there's so many shirt companies just popping up that kind of want to do the same thing as us, and we've been doing this for a long time, since 2016. But I think especially now we really perfected that shirt, so it's something that all missionaries should want to wear. Is where it's comfortable. We have extra length, so it's not going to come untucked when you're playing basketball or soccer or whatever. We have the mesh lining on the collar, so like you're saying,
collar shield, yeah.
You have the collar shield, so it's not going to turn yellow and gross over time, and stain resistant, wrinkle resistant. So it's literally a missionary's best friend. All you got to do is show up, and your shirts.
Don't forget the vents.
The vents. So the vents are our
shirt with vents.
Yeah, we're the shirt with vents. So the vents are our bread and butter. That's the one thing that no one's tried to copy us on yet, and fortunately, fortunately they haven't, but. Anyway, if you're serving a mission, it doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. Like this is the ultimate missionary shirt for you. So, Anyway.
Yeah, the shirt would have been awesome in my mission. We didn't have washing machines, dryers, anything like that. One of the reasons why we designed the shirt the way we did was because it's super low maintenance.
Yep.
You literally just wash it, shake it off, hang it up. It's dry 20 minutes later.
Yep.
Don't need to iron it, anything like that. And so. In Ghana, you're hand washing, or I stomp washed, like just put all the shirts in a bucket or a bathtub and just stomped it with soap and just hung it up after. So I mean, it would have been a lifesaver to have these shirts.
Yeah, no kidding.
These shirts out there would have saved half my P-day.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, mom wouldn't have been as embarrassed as if I had these shirts, for sure.
Totally.
What else was I gonna say? You guys had electricity, right, in Ghana?
Sometimes, not all the time. Like you had to buy a little card and get credits on it. But.
So one thing that we did in our mission, which was really gross now that I look back, was we come home for lunch, because it was 100 degrees, like 100% humidity, right? Come home for lunch, you're sweating so bad. You take your shirt off, you put it on the fan for the hour lunch or half hour lunch or whatever. And then once it's dry, you put it back on and you finish the day. And it was the grossest thing in the world. But
these shirts, you put them on and you can literally feel like cooler.
You can feel the breeze. Now, we're not saying that you're not going to sweat when it's 100 degrees and 100% humidity, but it is going to help. And you probably won't have to take off your shirt for lunch and put it over a fan. But
totally.
Anyway, that's kind of what we're about. We're passionate about missionary work. We're passionate about our product, and we just look forward to spreading the gospel and also spreading our shirts. Maybe let's edit that out. I don't want to put that in there.
No.
But we're happy to be here, and hopefully you guys can continue to join us and watch us grow. And
thanks for being part of the Serve podcast.
Yeah.
Dress shirts made for missionaries by missionaries.
Yeah. ServeClothing.com.